The morning sun cast golden rays through the tall windows of Kensington Palace as Princess Kate stood before an ornate mirror, carefully adjusting her elegant hat one final time. The weight of the moment pressed gently on her shoulders. Today was not just any royal occasion, but the coronation that would mark a new chapter in British history. Her reflection showed a woman of remarkable composure, dressed in a stunning ensemble chosen specifically for this historic day. Prince William paced quietly in the adjacent room, his military uniform pressed to perfection, medals gleaming in the soft light. He paused at the window, looking out at the crowds already gathering along the processional route. The responsibility he felt was immense, not just as heir to the throne, but as a father who would soon guide his children through one of the most significant royal ceremonies they would ever witness. Princess Charlotte bounced excitedly on her, toes in the nursery, her beautiful dress carefully arranged by her nanny. At her young age, she understood that today was special, though the full magnitude of the coronation ceremony remained beyond her grasp. Her eyes sparkled with anticipation as she practiced the curtsy her mother had taught her, determined to do everything perfectly. Prince George, slightly older and more aware of royal protocol, stood still as his tie was adjusted for the third time. His small face carried a seriousness that seemed far beyond his years. He had been briefed about the importance of good behavior during the long ceremony, and the weight of future kingship, though distant, already seemed to rest lightly on his young shoulders. Little Prince Louis, the youngest of the three, remained blissfully unaware of the day's significance. His main concerns centered around his uncomfortable formal shoes and whether there would be treats after the ceremony. His innocent smile and natural charm would soon win over millions of viewers worldwide, as it always did during royal appearances. The palace staff moved with practiced efficiency, ensuring every detail was perfect. Security personnel conducted final checks, while photographers positioned themselves for the departure shots. The famous royal cars gleamed in the courtyard, their engines purring softly as drivers performed last-minute inspections. Everything had to be flawless for this momentous occasion. Kate took a deep breath, gathering her children around her for a final family moment before they stepped into the spotlight. She knelt down to their level, speaking in gentle tones about the importance of representing their family with dignity and grace. Her maternal instincts balanced perfectly with her royal duties, creating a moment of tender intimacy before the public spectacle began. William joined his family, his strong presence providing comfort and stability. He placed his hands on his son's shoulders while Kate smoothed Charlotte's hair one last time. Together they formed a picture of modern royalty, elegant, approachable, yet unmistakably regal. The cameras waiting outside would soon capture this image for history books. The head of security approached discreetly, indicating that departure time had arrived. The crowds along the route were growing larger by the minute, and timing was crucial for the ceremonial schedule. Kate gathered her purse while William checked his uniform one final time. The children stood ready, their excitement barely contained despite their careful composure. As they prepared to leave their private family space and enter the public realm, each family member carried different emotions. William felt the weight of duty and the pride of heritage. Kate experienced the familiar mixture of nervousness and determination that came with major royal events. The children buzzed with excitement, unaware that they were about to participate in a ceremony that would be remembered for generations. The palace doors opened, and the family stepped forward together, ready to face the crowds, the cameras, and their place in history. Their journey to Westminster Abbey was about to begin, carrying with it the hopes and expectations of a nation. The coronation day had officially begun for the Wales family, and the world was watching their every move, with anticipation and admiration. The royal convoy glided smoothly through the streets of London as thousands of well-wishers lined the processional route. Inside the lead vehicle, Prince William sat with perfect posture, occasionally waving to the enthusiastic crowds while maintaining the dignified demeanor expected of future kings. The cheers grew louder with each passing block, a testament to the public's affection for the popular royal family. Princess Kate smiled graciously from behind the bulletproof glass, her natural warmth evident even in the formal setting. She had mastered the art of the royal wave years ago, but today felt different. The energy from the crowds seemed more intense, more meaningful. These were people who had waited years to witness this historic coronation, and their excitement was infectious. Prince George pressed his face against the window, amazed by the sea of Union Jack flags and colorful bunting that decorated every building. He had seen crowds before during royal appearances, but nothing compared to this overwhelming display of patriotism and celebration. His young mind tried to process the magnitude of what his family represented to all these people. Charlotte giggled softly as she spotted children in the crowd holding signs with her name. Some wore tiaras in her honor, while others had drawn pictures of the royal family. Her natural friendliness made her want to wave enthusiastically, but her mother's gentle reminder about proper royal etiquette kept her movements controlled and graceful. The youngest prince, Louis, had initially been fascinated by all the people and noise, but the steady rhythm of the car and the warmth of the morning sun streaming through the windows was making him drowsy. Kate kept a watchful eye on him, knowing that managing 3 children during such a long and formal ceremony would require all her maternal skills. Security motorcycles flanked the royal convoy, their officers maintaining constant communication, with command centers throughout the city. Every intersection had been secured, every building along the route thoroughly checked. The meticulous planning that went into royal protection was invisible to the public, but absolutely crucial for the family's safety. Street performers had positioned themselves at strategic points along the route, adding to the festive atmosphere. Musicians played patriotic songs while costumed performers entertained the waiting crowds. The entire city had transformed into a massive celebration, with London showing its finest face to the world's media, international dignitaries and foreign. Royalty had already taken their positions inside Westminster Abbey, but the arrival of the Wales family would mark the beginning of the ceremony's most significant phase. Their timing had to be precise, coordinated with centuries-old protocol while accommodating modern security requirements and media coverage. William checked his watch discreetly, knowing that millions of people around the world were watching their journey on television and online. The responsibility of representing the monarchy during such a pivotal moment in British history weighed heavily on his mind, but his family's presence provided strength and purpose. Kate noticed a group of school children who had been given special positions near the Abbey. Their faces painted with flags, they waved handmade banners celebrating the coronation. These were the future citizens who would grow up during the new reign, and their enthusiasm represented hope for the monarchy's continued relevance. The historic buildings of Westminster came into view, their ancient stones bearing witness to centuries of royal ceremonies. The convoy slowed as they approached the final stretch of their journey, giving the crowds one last opportunity to cheer for their beloved royal family before the formal ceremony began. Police barriers held back. The enthusiastic spectators, while mounted officers maintained order with quiet authority. The organization was flawless, a testament to British ceremonial expertise developed over generations of royal occasions. Every detail had been planned and rehearsed until it flowed with seamless precision. As Westminster Abbey's iconic towers loomed larger through the car windows, the family began their final mental preparations for the ceremony ahead. Soon they would step from the relative privacy of their vehicle into the full glare of international attention, taking their places in a ritual that connected them to over 1,000 years of royal tradition. The royal convoy came to a gentle stop outside Westminster Abbey's ancient entrance, where a red carpet stretched from the curb to the massive wooden doors. Camera flashes erupted like fireworks as photographers from around the world captured the historic moment of arrival. The sound was almost overwhelming, but the royal family had long ago learned to move gracefully through such intense media attention. Prince William stepped out first, his tall frame immediately commanding attention, as he paused to survey the magnificent abbey that would soon host one of the most important ceremonies in British history. His military uniform caught the morning light, medals glinting as he turned to assist his family from the vehicle. The weight of tradition and expectation was visible in his composed expression. Princess Kate emerged with practiced elegance, her stunning outfit perfectly coordinated for the solemn yet celebratory occasion. Every element of her appearance had been carefully chosen months in advance, from her hat to her shoes, ensuring she would honor both royal protocol and her own sophisticated sense of style. The cameras captured her radiant smile as she acknowledged the crowds. The children followed, each displaying their unique personalities despite the formal setting. Prince George walked with careful steps, clearly conscious of his important role and determined to conduct himself properly. His serious expression showed remarkable maturity for his age, understanding that today was different from their usual public appearances. Princess Charlotte practically glowed with excitement, her eyes wide as she took in the grandeur of Westminster Abbey and the massive crowds gathered to witness the coronation. Her natural charm was evident as she offered small waves to the photographers, already showing the instinctive grace that would serve her well in future royal duties. Prince Louis, still quite young, looked around with curious wonder at all the unfamiliar sights and sounds. The formal atmosphere was somewhat overwhelming for someone his age, but his parents' calm presence helped keep him settled. Kate kept him close, ready to provide guidance and comfort throughout the long ceremony ahead. Church officials and ceremonial guards stood at attention along their path, creating a corridor of honor that led to the Abbey's entrance. These men and women had trained for months to ensure every aspect of the coronation proceeded with flawless precision. Their dedication to duty mirrored the royal family's own commitment to service. The Dean of Westminster waited near the entrance, his ceremonial robes magnificent in the morning light. As the family approached, he offered a respectful bow, acknowledging their arrival at this sacred space where kings and queens had been crowned for nearly 1,000 years. The continuity of tradition was almost tangible in the ancient air. Inside the Abbey, 2,000 invited guests had already taken their seats, representing every corner of British society and the Commonwealth realms. World leaders, celebrities, charity workers, and ordinary citizens who had made extraordinary contributions sat together, united in witnessing this historic moment. The atmosphere hummed with anticipation. Television cameras positioned throughout the Abbey prepared to broadcast the ceremony to an estimated global audience of over 2 billion people. Technical crews had spent weeks ensuring perfect coverage of every moment, from the family's entrance to the climactic moment of coronation itself. History was being made, and the world wanted to watch. The Abbey's magnificent architecture provided a breathtaking backdrop for the ceremony. Gothic arches soared overhead while ancient stones seemed to whisper stories of centuries past. Stained glass windows cast colorful patterns across the assembled congregation, creating an atmosphere that was both solemn and magical. Kate took a moment to smooth Charlotte's dress and check that the boy's ties remained straight. These small, maternal gestures provided comfort to her children, while demonstrating to the world that royal duties never diminish the importance of family. Her gentle touch reassured them before they entered the sacred space. William surveyed his family one final time, pride evident in his expression despite the formal setting. Together they represented the future of the British monarchy, and their presence at this coronation symbolized continuity and hope. The next generation was ready to serve, even if they didn't yet fully understand what that meant. As they prepared to enter Westminster Abbey, the family stood together at the threshold of history. Behind them lay the cheering crowds and modern London. Ahead waited centuries of tradition and the sacred ceremony that would define the next era of British royalty. Their journey from palace to abbey was complete, but their most important role in this historic day was just beginning. The massive doors of Westminster Abbey swung open with ceremonial grandeur, revealing the breathtaking interior that had been transformed for this historic coronation. Golden light streamed through ancient stained glass windows, casting rainbow patterns across stone floors that had witnessed the crowning of monarchs for nearly a millennium. The Wales family paused at the threshold, taking in the magnificent scene before them. A magnificent choir filled the abbey with ethereal harmonies, their voices echoing off Gothic arches in a sound that seemed to connect earth and heaven. The Fu music had been carefully selected to honor both tradition and the significance of this new reign, with compositions spanning centuries of British musical heritage. Every note added to the profound atmosphere of reverence and celebration. Prince William led his family down the Abbey's central aisle, their footsteps silent on the rich carpeting that had been specially laid for the ceremony. Thousands of eyes followed their progress, but the family maintained their composure with the grace that had been instilled in them through years of public service. Each step brought them deeper into the heart of royal tradition. The guests rose as one as the family passed, a wave of respect that rippled through the congregation like wind through wheat. Foreign dignitaries, Commonwealth representatives, and British citizens all participated in this ancient gesture of honor. The sight was deeply moving, representing unity across cultures, continents, and social backgrounds. Princess Kate's eyes briefly met those of close friends and family members scattered throughout the congregation, offering subtle smiles of acknowledgement, while maintaining the dignity required for such a solemn occasion. Her parents sat with evident pride, still somewhat amazed that their daughter had become such an integral part of British royal life. Prince George walked with careful precision, his young face serious with concentration as he navigated the long aisle. He had practiced this walk many times, but the reality of the Abbey filled with people and cameras was far more overwhelming than any rehearsal. His determination to perform his role perfectly was evident in every measured step. Charlotte's natural curiosity was barely contained as she took in the spectacular decorations, flower arrangements, and ceremonial details that filled every corner of the Abbey. Her eyes sparkled with wonder, though she remembered her mother's instructions about maintaining proper posture and demeanor throughout the lengthy ceremony. Little Prince Louis seemed somewhat overwhelmed by the grandeur and formality surrounding him, staying close to his parents as they made their way toward the front of the Abbey. The enormity of the occasion was beyond his young understanding, but he could sense its importance through the behavior of the adults around him. Ancient banners and coats of arms hung from the Abbey's walls, representing centuries of British history and tradition. Each symbol told a story of previous monarchs, great victories, and the enduring strength of the institutions that had guided the nation through countless challenges. The visual reminders of continuity were both inspiring and humbling. Television. Cameras captured every moment of their procession, transmitting images to viewers around the globe who had risen early or stayed up late to witness this historic event. Commentary in dozens of languages described the scene to international audiences, sharing British royal tradition with the world. The Archbishop of Canterbury stood ready at the altar, his ornate vestments gleaming with gold thread and precious stones. As the spiritual leader who would perform the coronation ceremony, he represented the sacred nature of royal service and the connection between monarchy and divine authority that had underpinned British kingship for centuries. Members of the Commonwealth realms watched with special interest, knowing that this coronation would affect their own constitutional arrangements. Prime ministers, governors-general, and representatives from across the former empire sat together, united in their shared connection to the crown despite their geographical distance from Britain. The Abbey's organ, one of the finest in the world, provided majestic accompaniment to the ceremony's opening phases. Its deep, resonant tones filled every corner of the sacred space, adding gravitas and emotional depth to moments that would be remembered for generations. The music seemed to embody the very spirit of British tradition. As the family reached their designated places near the altar, they turned to face the congregation one final time before taking their seats. The sight of Westminster Abbey filled with representatives from every corner of British life, all united in witnessing this historic moment, was profoundly moving and symbolically powerful. The formal ceremony was about to begin, but the family's graceful arrival had already set the tone for a coronation that would blend ancient tradition with contemporary relevance. Their presence represented both continuity with the past and hope for the future, embodying the enduring strength of the British monarchy in the modern world. The coronation ceremony unfolded with magnificent precision as the Wales family settled into their specially designated seats near the altar of Westminster Abbey. Each family member understood their unique role as witnesses to history, representing both the continuity of royal tradition and the promise of the monarchy's future. Their presence added profound meaning to every ritual and prayer that followed. Prince William sat with the bearing of a future king, his attention focused completely on the sacred ceremony taking place before him. Every gesture, every word spoken by the Archbishop held significance for his own eventual coronation, making this both a family occasion and an essential learning experience. His respect for the institution he would one day lead was evident in his reverent attention. Princess Kate maintained perfect composure throughout the lengthy ceremony, occasionally offering gentle guidance to her children while never losing her own focus on the historic proceedings. Her natural grace under pressure had been refined through years of royal duties, but today's significance demanded an extra level of poise and dignity that she provided effortlessly. The children's behavior throughout the ceremony became a subject of admiration for viewers worldwide. Prince George demonstrated remarkable maturity, sitting quietly for long periods while maintaining appropriate interest in the proceedings. His understanding of the ceremony's importance was reflected in his serious attention to every detail. Princess Charlotte showed wonderful self-control, though her natural curiosity occasionally flickered across her face as she observed the elaborate rituals and magnificent regalia being used in the coronation. Her ability to remain still and quiet during such a long ceremony impressed even seasoned royal watchers who understood how challenging formal events could be for young children. Prince Louis, despite his tender age, managed to stay relatively calm throughout most of the ceremony. There were moments when the length and formality became challenging for someone so young, but his parents' patient guidance and the overall solemnity of the occasion helped him understand that this was a special and important time requiring his best behavior. The ancient words of the coronation service echoed through the Abbey as centuries of tradition played out once again. Latin phrases mixed with English prayers, creating a linguistic tapestry that connected the present ceremony with countless previous coronations. The family listened intently as history repeated itself in the most magnificent way possible. Sacred music filled every pause in the ceremony, with world-renowned choirs and orchestras providing accompaniment that elevated the entire experience to something truly transcendent. The Wales family, like everyone present, seemed transported by the ethereal beauty of voices and instruments, combining in perfect harmony within the Abbey's magnificent acoustics. The moment of crowning arrived, with breathtaking solemnity, as the Archbishop placed the crown upon the monarch's head while the congregation held its collective breath. The Wales family watched with deep emotion, understanding that they were witnessing the formal beginning of a new era in British history and their own lives as members of the royal family. International television audiences saw the family's genuine emotion during the most significant moments of the ceremony. Their faces reflected the gravity of the occasion, while also showing pride in their family's central role in British constitutional life. These authentic moments of feeling made them even more beloved by the public watching around the world. The Pau presentation of royal regalia created moments of particular fascination for the children, who watched wide-eyed as ancient crowns, scepters, and orbs were used in rituals dating back over 1,000 years. These tangible connections to British history helped make the abstract concepts of monarchy and tradition more concrete and meaningful. Throughout the ceremony, the family demonstrated why they had become so popular with the British people and Commonwealth citizens worldwide. Their combination of dignity and accessibility, formality and warmth, traditional values and modern sensibilities embodied exactly what many people hoped for in their royal family. The Archbishop's final blessing seemed to encompass not just the newly crowned monarch, but the entire royal family, recognizing their shared commitment to service and duty. The Wales family bowed their heads in reverent acknowledgement, understanding that they too had been consecrated for a life of public service. As the ceremony reached its climactic conclusion, the family prepared for the final processional that would take them from the sacred space of Westminster Abbey back into the world beyond. Their role as key participants in this historic coronation was nearly complete, but the memories and significance of this day would influence the rest of their lives and their service to the nation. The coronation ceremony concluded with triumphant organ music that seemed to shake the very foundations of Westminster Abbey, signaling the successful completion of one of the most significant royal events in British history. The Wales family rose from their seats with the rest of the congregation, their faces reflecting the profound emotions of having witnessed such a sacred and historic moment together. Prince William's expression showed deep satisfaction and pride as he prepared to escort his family from the Abbey. The ceremony had proceeded flawlessly, and his children had conducted themselves with remarkable dignity throughout the lengthy proceedings. His role as both participant and future king had been fulfilled with the grace and respect that the occasion demanded. Princess Kate gathered her children close as they prepared for the recessional, offering quiet words of praise for their exemplary behavior during the challenging ceremony. Her maternal pride was evident as she smoothed Charlotte's dress one final time and ensured the boys' formal wear remained properly arranged for the cameras that would capture their exit from this historic venue. The processional music began as the newly crowned monarch and other senior royals began their stately exit from Westminster Abbey. The Wales family waited their turn with patient dignity, knowing that their departure would be watched by millions of people around the world who had followed every moment of the coronation ceremony with fascination. Prince George stood tall beside his father, clearly understanding that he had just witnessed something that would be remembered and discussed for the rest of his life. His serious demeanor reflected his growing awareness of his own future role in the monarchy, even though that destiny remained many years distant. The experience had been both educational and inspiring. Princess Charlotte's eyes sparkled with excitement as she prepared to walk back down the Abbey's central aisle, past the congregation that had shared in this momentous occasion. Her natural charm and grace had been on full display throughout the ceremony, winning hearts among viewers who saw her as representing the monarchy's bright future. Little Prince Louis, though tired from the long ceremony, managed to maintain his composure for the final public moments inside the Abbey. His parents' patient guidance throughout the day had helped him understand the importance of the occasion, even if the full significance remained beyond his young comprehension. His presence had added a touch of family warmth to the formal proceedings. The congregation remained standing as the Wales family began their procession toward the Abbey's exit, acknowledging their important role in the day's ceremonies with respectful applause. Representatives from every corner of British society and the Commonwealth had shared in witnessing this historic moment, creating memories that would last throughout their lifetimes. Camera crews positioned throughout the Abbey captured the family's dignified exit, transmitting images to television audiences worldwide who had invested hours in watching the entire coronation ceremony. The global reach of the event demonstrated the continued fascination with British royal traditions and the particular appeal of this accessible modern royal family. As they approached the Abbey's great doors, the sounds of celebration from the crowds outside became audible, promising an enthusiastic welcome for the family as they returned to public view. The contrast between the sacred solemnity inside the Abbey and the joyful festivities waiting outside perfectly captured the dual nature of royal ceremonial occasions. The family paused briefly at the Abbey's threshold, taking a final moment to appreciate the magnificent interior that had hosted such a significant ceremony. The ancient stones, soaring arches, and stained glass windows had provided a perfect setting for this blend of tradition and modernity that characterized contemporary royal events. Stepping outside into the bright daylight, the Wales family was greeted by thunderous cheers from the crowds who had waited patiently throughout the lengthy ceremony. The enthusiasm was overwhelming, demonstrating the genuine affection that the British people felt for this popular royal family who had conducted themselves with such grace throughout the historic day. The return journey to their waiting vehicles provided one final opportunity for the family to acknowledge the crowds who had made the coronation such a memorable celebration. Their waves and smiles reflected their appreciation for the public support that had made the entire day feel like a shared national experience rather than simply a royal obligation. As their convoy pulled away from Westminster Abbey, the Wales family could reflect on their successful participation in one of the most important royal ceremonies in British history. They had represented the monarchy with dignity, grace, and authenticity, while also demonstrating the warmth and accessibility that had made them beloved figures throughout Britain and the Commonwealth. The coronation was complete, but the memories of this extraordinary day would remain with the family forever. They had played their part in a ceremony that connected them to centuries of British tradition, while also positioning them for continued service in the modern world. Their grace at Westminster Abbey had helped ensure that this historic coronation would be remembered as a perfect blend of ancient tradition and contemporary relevance.